recognition from the universe that you can see and hear me. We're talking about turkey wines that is, here on this Sunday evening. I was tempted to skip tonight, but I think, it's important to have this as a regular time when we can come together. Even if this is perhaps a little shorter than usual, it depends on you. So I'm just going to refresh my browser and see if I can see the comments or any confirmation that you're out there. I'm sure you are. But I just want to make sure that the audio and the visual is working as usual, because we are going to talk about our favorite Thanksgiving wines. So if you're just tuning in and joining us, please let me know where you're at, and also what is in your glass tonight. What are you drinking for Thanksgiving? Whether it is, I'm just refreshing the page here as I'm chatting, whether it's something that you're enjoying tonight, something that you plan to share or enjoy tomorrow. I'm not sure, when are you having your Thanksgiving dinner? Of course, this is Thanksgiving dinner for Canadians. Our American friends, as one US president used to say, we'll be celebrating later in November. So we're getting things warmed up for you. Okay, so Lynn says, hello from Halifax. And Tom Fredericks is also in Nova Scotia. Lynn and Tom, thank you. What is in your glass tonight? I appreciate you joining us. So a few things to get us started, the usual stuff. If you hit that share button that's sort of right under this video in the middle, you can let friends know what we're doing here and invite them to join us. It's always nice to have another friend sort of settle up to the table with his or her glass of wine. And I just got a ding. Oh, Anne MacLean just commented on Natalie's video. Hello, Anne. Hello, Mom. Okay, so that's great. I'm glad I am visible and audible. So tell me where you're from, where you're joining us, what's in your glass, what pairings have you discovered this Thanksgiving that are absolutely amazing, and what else? Okay, so let's get started. Now, I went through my my cellar and my samples. I do get sent samples, of course. As a wine writer and taster, I'm tasting thousands of wines every year. Okay, Matushka, Susan Matushka, tagged me in a post. I guess that's a good thing, Susan. I'm glad you're here too. Susan, where are you chiming in from? What part of the world? Crystal Handel, I'm glad you liked the video, Crystal, and where are you chiming in from? I love when you guys comment. I mean, I can see the notifications. They come and go very quickly, so I am keeping an eye on them. But when you comment, those comments seem to stay longer than just the likes and the shares and things. So I do want you to do that. So Tom Fredericks in Nova Scotia, he is drinking a Old Pulteney 17-year-old Scotch whiskey on the road in Heatherton, Antigonish. Tom, I assume you are not drinking that whiskey on the road, or else you are standing at the roadside. Anyway, that sounds like a lovely whiskey, Tom. I never really got into whiskey, even though I should, given my heritage, Scottish and all, but I just didn't get there. Just found the alcohol level really high, but I'm glad you are here to represent, Tom. Crystal is in Wisconsin. I love how this brings us together, no matter where we are. And Susan is in North Carolina. She'll be celebrating in November after you beta test the holiday. You have a good sense of humor, Susan. And are you enjoying something tonight, Susan, as a prelude, a warm-up? Speaking of warm-up, I must share with you. So tonight, I've been very, I'm Canadian, but I'm very interested in following the U.S. election. And so I'm going to be watching the second debate tonight between Hillary and Donald. But next week, next Sunday, I have wines from Trump Vineyards, owned by himself, the Donald, but I also have wines from Clinton Vineyards, they are not owned by Hillary. But I just thought it would be fun to do a little bit of a taste-off there, a little bit of a wine debate. So I hope you'll join me next week for that and give me your suggestions or questions. Maybe we'll have a town hall, just like they are tonight. Okay, so Tom is saying, I'm making up for my limited Scotch consumption. You are a self-sacrificer, Tom. and I appreciate that. Our whole clan does. Whole clan MacLean is going, what is this woman doing? Just drinking wine. Okay, Susan. I join you for your description of taste as much in common. Okay, great. I'm glad. So yeah, there is a lot of taste and descriptors in common between wine and whiskey, and it's mostly in the nose, as we know. And tonight, again, I keep sort of refreshing on the topic here in case people are just joining us now. Do click on share so they can. Your friends know we're here. When you do that, share button with the little arrow, they get notified that we're here and they can join us. If you click on the sign up button, I mirror image there, sign up blue button, you can get notified the next time we go live, or I think the follow button also does that. Anyway, so I'm Natalie MacLean. We're talking about Thanksgiving wines. What I started with, just to get right onto the subject, is a sparkling wine. And as I said, I went through my cellar and all the samples I've been receiving, and I don't think it's a coincidence that I ended up with a lot of Canadian wines. Now, even though you may not be able to get all of these wines that I'm going to mention tonight, you'll still find relevancy in that I'm going to talk about archetypes of wines that go well with Thanksgiving dinner. Of course, what are we going to kick it off with, whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, any celebratory, but is a bubbly. And this one is Maverick Estate Winery. It's from BC. I had it actually last night, but I wanted to save the bottle and show you just because a bubbly is, I think, whether it's sparkling wine from any region, Canada, the US, a cava from Spain, a prosecco from Italy, and of course champagne is the only one that can be called champagne from France. It is, I think, the ultimate food-friendly wine on the planet. There's a few reasons for that. There's the bubbles, that swarm of refreshment bubbles that just literally cleanses the palate. There's that acidity that tickles up and down the sides of your mouth. That's enlivening and literally whetting your appetite. And then there's just the freshness of it. There's no heavy alcohol. There's no heavy oak. It can be aged in oak, but you'll never find it like really oaky as you might perhaps an overdone Chardonnay. Again, not all Chardonnays are overdone or over-oaked. But with turkey, of course, we're talking about leans toward the drier of meats. And some of you are probably far more expert cooks than I am. I am not a cook, so anything you can do is better. But when you get a mouth-watering read acidity is a good thing, you are always going to moisten what you're eating. Sharon joins us. Sharon is watching from Ottawa. Hey, hometown Sharon. She's got a Jackson Triggs, rich and robust, in her glass. Yes, the food elimination diet is over, Sharon says. Yay, celebrate, girlfriend. Okay. And leftover from Thanksgiving yesterday, she had a roast. Was that a roast turkey, Sharon, or was it a different sort of roast? Of course, a lot of people just like to mix it up. Roast beef, other roast ham. We celebrated yesterday as well, Sharon. We have one of those modern families of all kinds of mixed combinations. So my partner Miles, who have been together for 4 years, we were with his brother and his sister, 2 sisters, and his mother, my mother, who came up from Nova Scotia, and 2 daughters by his brother's first marriage. Anyway, it's one of those happy conglomerations where everybody gets together and just enjoys the food and wine around the table. And that's, I think, really what it's about. So tonight we're having traditional Thanksgiving turkey pizza. Actually, it's just pizza. The doorbell should ring anytime because I'm cooking tonight. So that'll be fun. I've left the door open here. It's a beautiful October evening here. I'm not sure where you are, but the weather is, it's crisp and cool, but it's lovely. Sharon says she had a sirloin roast. Now that's nice, because sometimes you can get tired of turkey, Sharon. I don't know how to cook a turkey. I'm with you, sister. I had an orphan Thanksgiving with some friends over who had family thousands of kilometers away. These days, Sharon, we are all orphans, right? We are all joining together in clans and tribes of different combinations, and that's really how it is these days. So there's the guy from Boston Pizza in the driveway, and he's going to ring the bell. But my son, who is home from Waterloo University, he's in his first year of electrical engineering, so you can imagine how happy I am to have him home. He is having the traditional Thanksgiving pizza. So let us continue. So you started with bubbly. I would love to know if you've discovered any unusual, there's the doorbell, any unusual pairings for Thanksgiving. Anne MacLean, a close relative, that's my mom, she's having Dr. Lucin. It's delicious with many Thanksgiving foods and dishes. Yum. Anne, Mom, I agree with you. That's terrific. Okay, it's funny because I'm here in my office, Mom's in the kitchen. So Mom is chatting with me live. And Crystal says, yes, Anne. Isn't this neat? You know, my mom's in the kitchen, but Crystal's in Wisconsin. And they're talking. So Crystal says, yes, Anne, that is one of my favorites too. Yeah, the Dr. Lucin Riesling. This is a German Riesling, and that is a great segue into white wine. So so we've talked a little bit about bubbly and why it works so well with turkey and a lot of foods, really. But the next best thing, or maybe just right up there, is a Riesling from Germany, from Niagara, from BC, from Washington State. There's a lot of specialists in Riesling, and I'm probably forgetting a whole bunch. So you chime in and tell me what I'm forgetting. But again, the reason Riesling works is the acidity. And we don't need to be afraid of acidity. It is, as I've said before, what salt is to food, acidity is to wine. It brings forward flavor. It highlights it. It's like the footlights on the stage that light the actor's expressions. This is wine's backbone and its best supporting actor. I'm sure there's some Riesling in whiskey too, Tom. Just circling back to the whiskey. That's the Boston pizza guy leaving. Bye guy. Anyway, so German Riesling, fantastic. Did I pull out a Riesling tonight? I didn't pull out the Lucin, but I have lots of other bright whites with great acidity. So let's move on. So we've done the sparkling. What shall I pull next? I'm still in BC. Now, I hope that the winery will correct me if I'm butchering their name, but this is Quidney. Beautiful, beautiful Viognier from BC that I've just discovered tonight. Viognier is one of what we call the aromatic grapes. Riesling is another one. Viognier, Gewürztraminer, which a lot of people have to cough to say because they're nervous about mispronouncing it. So Viognier, Gewürztraminer, Riesling. What else is really aromatic? Anybody throw it out there? Roussanne. Then you start to get into really more obscure. Torrontés, not Toronto, but Torrontés from Argentina. Beautiful wine. So here we've got the aromatics, meaning white flowers, peach blossom. We've got the acidity. And again, you think, okay, turkey is pretty neutral, except for what we add to it, right? If we stuff it with oranges, or if we put spices or seasonings or whatever, there's a reason we dress the turkey. It's really neutral, just like chicken. It's sort of the blank canvas, and we paint it with the way we prepare it, our seasonings. Crystal is saying, I had an awesome opportunity to work in a wine shop here in Wisconsin, run by Phil Bilodeau. That sounds familiar, that name. For 2 years, and Dr. L. Riesling was one of my favorite knowns of the time. Maybe not so much like it, but I found a similar likeness in Gruner Veltliner, which is a very nice, crisp, green in a good way, white wine from Austria. Do you think it's a good one to bring for a Thanksgiving meal? Absolutely. Anything that gets your mouth watering is fantastic for Thanksgiving. And you know, a lot of these mouth-watering whites have high acidity, and they have high acidity often because they come from cool climates, which means they have lower alcohol levels. And that's a great thing when you're sitting down for maybe 4 hours or more with a family meal. You've got refreshment, you've got flavor, but you're not like getting hit over the head with heavy alcohol, because everybody likes to have a glass or 2 or 3 at this time with a celebratory dinner. So it's a really good pairing. So Crystal, you're right on with that. And one last thing, in I think my second book, Unquenchable, I actually met Ernie Lucin, Dr. Lucin, and we drove on the Autobahn, which was absolutely terrifying. He hadn't had wine, but it was still terrifying. I almost wished I had had wine before I went on the Autobahn with him in Germany. We went back to his house and tasted his wines. It was an assignment for the book, but he is brilliant and full of character and funny and just as vibrant as his wines. So it was a really terrific experience. But that's in the book if you ever, and this is not a sales pitch for the book, but it's just we're on Dr. Lucen. So, oh, by the way, he decided to call his wine Dr. Lucen, and his father was a medical doctor, so his father said he should be paying him commission. And Ernie said, the doctor on the label is me, because the modern day, or the Ernie, Dr. Lucen Jr. has a doctorate. He's not a medical doctor, but he has a PhD. Anyway, side story, side tangent. As you know, I'm very prone to them. So Tom is saying port and sherry casks are very popular for finishing whiskey, but wine casks are becoming more popular for aging whiskey. So Tom is here to represent the whiskey crowd tonight. And you're right, it does impart some lovely flavors, depending on what the seasoning. That's the seasoning for whiskey. Is it a port or a sherry cask or even a wine cask? So back to the wine I'm tasting right now for Thanksgiving. It's a Quidney, which is a Viognier from BC, and I must say it's one of the most beautiful Viogniers I've tasted, whether from Canada or abroad. So kudos and shout outs to Quidney Winery from BC. Let's give that a taste. You taste what's in your glass while I'm doing this. It's so beautiful. The white florals, again, I'm going to post all the links. I've been a little delinquent now. But I will get back to posting the links for all the wines that we taste. So, all right. Oh my gosh, that's so lovely. I don't want to put it out, dump it out, but I will. Okay, so what else have we got? I'm still in BC. I just picked a bunch here randomly, but they also had screw caps because I just didn't want to be bothered. I've got the equivalent of carpal tunnel syndrome, but for wine writers, I think, where it's like too many corkscrews and lifting off coils or foils and coils and whatever. Anyway, so the next one we've got is another bright white from BC. It's Quail's Gate. Amazing producer, really consistently good. They've got a blend here of Chasselas, I don't know if you can see that, but it's a traditional crisp white grape from Switzerland. Again, think white florals, lots of acidity. They've also got Pinot Blanc, Pinot Gris. Those are all northern whites. Wherever they're grown, they tend to be in the northern region. So, you know, if you notice Italy, all its Prosecco, it's sparkling wine, it's crisp whites, Soave. They're all in the north of the country where the climate is cool enough to preserve that fresh acidity. It's really important. So let me catch up on the, Sharon likes the carpal tunnel syndrome from wine writers. This is why I absolutely love Facebook Live. You know, I have to admit, I really disliked Facebook. I just thought it was a total, I was on to Twitter, right? But this engagement, this is fun. So she's got an LOL, occupational hazard. Yes. Yes, Sharon. Tom Fredericks, are oak casks as common for aging wine? Yes, indeed, Tom. So, I mean, there's a movement called, what do they call it? Naked grapes or unplugged or all kinds of names where they're indicating that the wine has not touched oak. But often wines don't have an oak influence. But on the other hand, there are many wines that have oak aging, and it's integral to the wine's character. So I kind of think of oak, this is probably overdoing it, but as the ketchup of the wine world, the seasoning. It should be the seasoning. It should be just a little sprinkle here and there. When it's overused, it is like the ketchup of the wine world. So you're just dousing something that really didn't taste good and you're trying to drown it out with the ketchup flavor. But when oak is used nicely, judiciously, integratively, it's like the cumin or the sage or the cilantro of wine. It's the right seasoning and spice. What we get, of course, from oak barrels is, that smoky, toasty character, of course, but also spices. That's all what's in the wood, how it's been seasoned in wine and in whiskey, Tom. So we are tasting for Thanksgiving dinner, and if you've just joined us, please let us know where you are logging in from. Where are you from? What city? What's in your glass tonight, or what was in it last night, or what will be in it tomorrow night for Thanksgiving if you're here in Canada, or as was it Crystal, who said we're going to beta test the holiday. She's in Wisconsin, so we are giving Thanksgiving a test run for Crystal here personally tonight, because she's, of course, going to celebrate Thanksgiving in the U.S. at the end of November. So this one is Quails Gate, BC. It's a blend of 3 crisp, vibrant grapes. You go ahead and taste. I'll taste. Oh, my goodness. That's very fresh. I love it. So I do use a spittoon sometimes. Not because that's not good. Spittoons are actually professional necessity. That is light, it is fresh. You won't tire of that. Not only, is it not heavy, but you won't tire of it sensorially. You know, if you have a thick, dense cheesecake, like chocolate cheesecake, how tired of, I have to read Crystal's comments here. For wine writers, yes. Lush Sam's. Not sure I get that. So Crystal is stay-at-home moms. Oh, for stay-at-home moms, yes. I was once that. It's probably where I got into the wine in the first place. Tom says ketchup. Good food doesn't need it, bad food doesn't deserve it. That's a good saying, Tom. Same with wine, with oak aging. Peter Nielsen has joined us, and he's watching from his cottage in Halliburton. Welcome, Peter. Peter, are you normally in West Virginia? I'm trying to keep everyone in a map in my mind with these little pins. There's Peter, there's Tom, there's Crystal, there's Sharon, Lynn. I'm trying to keep you all straight, or at least in my mind. Dave Head is at home in Cookstown drinking Le Consigliere. Dave, is that a Bordeaux? It's definitely French, obviously. I'm not sure if I've had that wine. Give us some more details, Dave. And are you pairing it with anything? Anything Thanksgiving related or anything else? So again, if you just join us, what's in your glass? Where are you from? 2 very simple questions. We want to hear from you, just because then everybody knows who's at the table, and it makes the conversation more vibrant. So we are moving probably a little too slowly here. We've done 2 whites and a bubbly. Veronica has just joined us. Veronica Martin. I'm just looking out the window there. Nope, no more pizza, guys. There will be some Carmenere in my glass tonight in Oakville, Ontario. Then with turkey tomorrow, Fielding Riesling and Anciano Tempranillo. So I'm assuming the latter is Spanish. Veronica, those are great choices. Really great. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Fielding does amazing Rieslings. And Carmenere. Which Carmenere? I'm just curious, Veronica. Which winery? I'm assuming it's Chilean, but I don't want to make assumptions. Dave says Bordeaux Superior pairing with Blue Jays. Oh yeah, there's so many games tonight. Thank you for joining me. I won't keep you from those games. And Veronica says yes. It is a Spanish wine that she's drinking. So let's keep moving. I've got another BC white, which I have never tried. So live here. I'm not going to hide or mask any reactions here. Let's hope it works out for this winery. This is a BC winery, and they've sent me a bunch called The View Winery in Kelowna. Their label, the winery's called The View, silver lining, estate white. It's Gewürztraminer. Oh, here's another one that's really aromatic, and I often see it in BC, and I'm going to probably massacre the great pronunciation here, but Ehrenfelser, and Riesling. So let's just give this a try, and I can't go too wrong. Aromatic, acidity, turkey, yes. Oh, that's nice. It's, again, pretty and floral. I think white daisies and lilies and white peach blossom and apple blossom and spring greens and very pretty. Okay, let's see. Are you tasting too? I want to know what you're drinking. Oh, that's nice. Spittoon wasn't necessary. God, I wish I could. Sometimes it feels like a crime just to have an ounce of these things and then not to finish them, but I do have a whole team of wine writers here in Ottawa, and I send out the message saying samples available, and someone comes and gets them, so they do have a second life. Helena, happy Thanksgiving, my dear. Helena in Lunenburg. So Helena, Lynn, and Anne, aka Mom, are here. So I'm so glad you can join us. So let's keep moving here. I've got a rosé, one of my favorite rosés, Chateau de Caria from Tavel, which is the south of France, the southern Rhone Valley, where they only make rosé, nothing else. Not red, not white, and only dry rosé. And it, I think, is the best, most spectacular rosé in France and, I gotta say, the world. So if you can imagine, it's at the southern tip of Rhone and just before you get to Provence, so it's not as far south as Provence. Beautiful. Rosé is perfect with Thanksgiving dinner because it's got the acidity, it's got cherry cranberry flavors, liquid garnish right here. It's dry, it's, again, not heavy in oak or alcohol, so please keep that one in mind. And again, I'll put the link up. I'm going to get some more here. We have got a Pinot Gris here, 2000, again, BC. I guess I just grabbed from the BC section tonight. Deb, hey Deb. Deb loves the view. Deb is out, not the show, but the wine, the view. Deb is out in BC and she knows her stuff. It's a delicious Gewürz, bubblies. Deb, you're tasting tonight, in fact, a Summerhill, a yummy Gewürzen. Oh, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Deb. Efrenelser. No, Efrenelser. Oh man, I gotta get my head and tongue around that one. I've mastered Gewürztraminer, but you have to kind of say it, I think, a few times in the mirror. It's one of their specialties. Cheers and happy Thanksgiving to you too, Deb. All right, Deb, another BC specialty. Township 7, we're going to taste their Pinot Gris. Now, Pinot Gris is still crisp and white and lots of great acidity. Maybe not quite as aromatic and floral as some of the white wines we've just been tasting and mentioning. Let's see. It's fresh. It's cool. That's very nice. Sometimes you don't want, a whole bouquet of flowers in your mouth. And you just want that freshness. Like this Pinot Gris, to me, is more like Pinot Grigio, like more of that crisp freshness, not floral, but white, like lime, citrus, vibrant, grapefruit, etc. Beautiful wine, though. Very beautiful wine. Hello to Lori Pike, if she's out there listening. Okay, so Sharon says, when she was a convention center server in my late teens, at the end of the night, we had to pour out all the wine, and I cried a little on the inside, thinking of how much we left in. It was a crime, or to be cheeky, she called it alcohol abuse. Yes, I used to do that too. I used to dump everything, and then I got a little wiser and proactive and started thinking ahead and realizing, okay, if I'm going to do this every Sunday night or whenever I taste my wines, because I have to go through the samples that are sent to me, I feel it to be an obligation. They've taken the time, the wineries or agencies have taken the time and the money to send me these wines for a review. And of course, it's just like a book reviewer or any other reviewer. You need the sample. So it is a professional sort of piece of information that you need. But afterwards, it's not like I'm going to drink them all or have a bacchanalian fest here every night. So now I put the word out to my team of reviewers, and someone, bless them, comes and picks them up to do extra reviews on each wine. Amber Stevens, happy Thanksgiving. She's joining from the greater Detroit area. Yes, ma'am. I'm drinking a decaffeinated Earl Grey tea because I'm slowly recovering from a cold. That is miserable, Amber, but I'm glad you're recovering. When you can't smell, wine is pretty much just alcohol. That's not a bad thing, but you may as well be drinking, a hot toddy, because most of the joy and the beauty of wine is in the nose. So, Amber, we're hoping you get better soon. And Dave says, hello, Helena. Love the Ironworks from Lunenburg. That's a whiskey distillery, or what is that, a spirit? I know it's an artisanal spirit distillery of some sort. And Dave is saying to Helena, I had some cranberry last night. So maybe some cranberry wine from Ironhead. There's a lot of what we call fruit wineries across the country in Canada. So you think, okay, well, grapes are fruit, but actually that's the distinction we use. When it's not grape-based, and usually that's called a wine, we call it fruit wine. So it's any other fruit, like raspberries, cranberries, blueberries, Blueberries. BC. I'm jumping ahead here because I think this blueberry wine is sweet, and I was going to save it as a natural progression to dessert wines for the end of this broadcast, but I'm just pointing it out. Blueberry wine from Monte Creek, again in BC. I just pulled the same swath of wines here, all BC tonight. So let me get some more. Let's see. Malivoire. What's always interesting, and I think it's just because I'm behind in my samples, but I seem to have a Malivoire Chardonnay 2014 and a Malivoire Chardonnay 2015. And what's interesting is to compare vintages. So when you are, at Thanksgiving, and if you have a larger group around the table, you know how you have all the side dishes? You have the sweet potatoes and the corn and the whatever else. Why not have wine, multiple wines as side dishes so people can pick and choose? And there's no better opportunity than to compare wines or compare the same wine but different vintages. It's a really unique opportunity. So I'm just going to see if there's much difference here. Malivoire is a Niagara winery that's very consistently great. Gravity Flow. They're built into the side of a hillside, and so they're very gentle. Nancy MacLean at her new home in Halifax, not far from your mom's. We might drink together soon. Wine, of course. Yes, Nancy. That's terrific. Helena says rum. Okay, so Ironworks in Lunenburg produces rum, pear wine, can't remember what else. Dave, where do you live? Oh, Dave's put the URL. And these comments are going so fast, I've got to keep track of these. Deb says, the blueberry wine from Monte Creek is to die for. Let's get another bottle shot of that. We are going to taste this in a moment, by the way. Very smooth, dessert in and of itself. So it is sweet. Thanks for confirming that, Deb. So right now I'm tasting, which one did I open? Malivoire 2014 Chardonnay. And I just want to see if there's, much difference. Of course, there's vintage variation each year, but you get consistency and a signature from wineries when they're doing a really standout varietal. That's great. It's what we call cool climate Chardonnay. So not too much oak, some nice spice, very good. And now that was the 2014. I usually taste. Actually, I should taste the younger first because usually it's more vibrant and fruity, but it could be bigger. And then go to the older, excuse me, which is more subtle. It's always an interesting challenge. You always want to taste the more subtle one first, and then go to the bigger one so that the second one doesn't overwhelm. But anyway, I don't think it's going to matter too much. Here's the 2015. Just reading your comments, Sharon. Let's see. If you've just joined us, tell us where you're joining us from and what's in your glass. I must say, between the 2014 and 15 of the Malivoire Chardonnay, very consistent. I find the 15 a bit fresher, and it's not like the 2014 is too old or over the hill. I'm just finding the 2015 a bit more vibrant, but I would love to hear what you think if you've tried those. So Sharon says, in terms of comparing vintage years, I had an idea of buying 2 cases of wine for the vintage year that my child was born, yes, and open a bottle a year to see how the taste evolves. Yes, and how your child is evolving. No, that's an excellent idea. A lot of people like to lay down a case for their child, either to try themselves or to give the child to start his or her cellar, which is an excellent way to do it. So Dave says, we served Laughing Stock Portfolio, that's BC wine, at our wedding this summer. Congratulations, Dave. We were able to drain a 12-liter bottle. Was the bottle 12 liters? Was it like a Nebuchadnezzar or whatever they call those big format bottles, Dave? He also loves Painted Rock from BC. That is classic. And John Skinner, who's the winery owner, is, I must say, an ambassador for the wine industry, not just BC, but he is a gentleman, first class kind of guy. Sharon says, okay, I read that one. And then Kevin Ross is joining us from Winnipeg, and all Kevin says is, J-Lore. Okay, good, Kevin. J-Lore, which one? Syrah, Cabernet, what's in your glass? So let's see, we've done the Malibars. I'm going to get them out of the way. I thought, if I was going to be, I don't know, patriotic or whatever, there's a whole new collection here called the McMichael Collection, which is named after the gallery in Northern Ontario where the group of 7 painters, a lot of their works are housed. This is a label that is created by Diamond Estate Wineries in Niagara, so we'll see. I never mind supporting art, whether it is in liquid form or paint, and just a beautiful label though, eh? I just wonder how they're doing with this. Okay. Excuse me. Not bad. Not bad. It's won an award of some sort, but most wines have actually. I always see these stickers. But a lot of wine competitions, everybody goes home with an award, like kindergarten, where everybody gets a certificate for participation. Anyway, so this one, you know what? It's fresh. It's green apple. I wouldn't give it an extremely high score, like maybe 87, so it's fine. And I'll post the link as well. Sharon said, in brackets, it was red, though. So I've totally lost the thread of the conversation, Sharon. And Dave has said exactly twice. No idea what he's referring to, but anyway. See, I'm seeing only 4 or 5 comments at once, so I'm trying to keep up here. Again, that's interesting wine. Just wonder if it's a blend. I'm only working off the dim light of my computer here. No, it's unoaked Chardonnay. So it's cool, it's crisp, it's nicely presented, but it doesn't blow me away. So here's my honest appraisal. Let's see what else we've got here. I think we're going to be moving into the reds. And again, I think I must be backlogged here because I've got Quailsgate Merlot 2013 and 14. So I'm going to do a vintage comparison. Kevin Ross in Winnipeg is drinking the J-Lore Cabernet Sauvignon. Kevin, did you try to pair that with Thanksgiving turkey, or are you having something else, or you're just having a glass right now? I find that Cabernet, because it has often tannins, although J-Lore makes very smooth, supple wines, even when it comes to Cabernet. So when you have tannins in a Cabernet, and you have a dry meat like turkey, I find it's dry on dry, and the combination doesn't always work. So tannin, of course, is that furry mouth feeling you get from eating walnuts or oversteeped tea. I'm going to get a red wine glass here, and I better clear some of these bottles before they start falling off my table here. I've got a standing desk, that's where I'm doing this, but I'm precariously perching all these bottles on the tilt part of the desk, so I'm just going to move them, sorry. Okay, so let's see. We'll do the 2013 Quailsgate Merlot. Quailsgate, outstanding producer in BC. And Merlot, I think, is a specialty for them. Alan Cameron from Canada. Hey, I still have a 30-year-old bottle of what? Shadow Peat Mahovlich? It's the only wine I've seen sealed with hockey tape. Pair with poutine or enamel paint. Alan, I wouldn't pair that with anything. I think you should maybe use it as a deck stain reinforcer. Are you serious? Is that a real bottle of wine, Alan? Or are you just making that up? Anyway, I'm so glad you could join us, Alan. So, Quailsgate Merlot 2013. Merlot would be beautiful because, again, it's got softer tannins than a Cabernet, generally. So, let's give it a taste. You taste what you've got in your glass. Oh, mocha chocolate here. If you're just joining us, tell us where you're from and what's in your glass. Don't forget to hit the share button right under the video because that lets other people know, your friends. They can join us here. Hit the sign up button, the blue sign up button, the follow button. You'll get notified the next time we go live. We're here every Sunday at 6. I'm going to make this a regular thing, as you can see. So, yeah. Well, mocha, chocolate, black plum, toasty oak. Surprisingly good acidity. It's not like a flabby kind of Merlot. Now I want to compare that with the 2014 vintage. Okay. Yes, so I just tasted you virtually the 2013 Merlot. I'm going to try 2014, see if I can see a huge difference. Always vintage variation, but you never know. Sharon says, I drank the McMichael Cabernet the other day. Cab Merlot. I wasn't in love with it. We also tried the Longhand Cab Merlot from Niagara and again wasn't in love with it. I'm more of a heavier Cab Shiraz, Cab Sauv Shiraz, Zinfandel kind of girl, yeah. Needed something a bit heavier with sirloin roast. Absolutely, Sharon. You do need that. I'm liking the nose better of the 2014 Quail's Gate Merlot from BC. Our BC friends, Deb, 2014 versus 2013. I'm liking the 2014 a whole lot better. Is there some vintage variation to explain that? I wonder. Chime in if you've got some thoughts on that. I'm just clearing the decks here. Let's see. We're nearing the end because I realize I've kept you here a long time. Okay, so we've got rolling. Actually the only non-Canadian wine tonight, but again, all of these principles and taste descriptors, they're really relevant across a lot of regions, and so we're talking general wine types here. Excuse me, this is a cool climate combination, Grenache Shiraz Mourvedre, so a GSM they call them, 2015 from the Central Ranges. So I'm going to try that. I always think that Shiraz and Mourvedre Grenache, they're all smooth, juicy, ripe, big, fleshy plum kind of wines, are a natural for Turkey, especially if you're a red wine lover. Pinot Noir would be the other one, of course, that comes to mind. Much lighter, more acidic, but oh, that's nice. I hope you can get this. Rolling. Again, I'll post the links. Let's see. Oh, who's got a big fleshy wine? Alan, best potential name for a big cab would be Uber. Yeah, there should be a Cabernet called Uber, or just call me a cab. I've had too much cab. Very good. Oh, that is so balanced, so complex. The 3 layers and tiers of the grapes are right there. My goodness, that's good wine. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. Let's see. So that was a big red, and I think we're now into just 3 dessert wines left. Just 3. Here we go. You guys are troopers. All right, let's see what else we've got here. So, any votes? What I've got left to taste. The Monte Creek, BC Blueberry Wine, Southbrook Framboise, which is a raspberry dessert wine from Ontario, and we've got Quail's Gate, Fortified Vintage Fauche. Marichal Fauche is a hybrid grape, and they've made it into a port style. Again, port is trademarked, just like champagne is. Only port from Portugal can be called port. So, any votes? Let's see. Personally, let's see what would I go with. I think I would try the blueberry first. I think that will be the most acidic, and then we'll get sweeter with the framboise, and then we will get the port style, which is going to have more alcohol, but also probably be the sweetest. So we always want to drink up in terms of flavor, alcohol, etc., so that each wine doesn't how does that go? Each wine isn't overwhelmed by the last one. So anyway, let's try that blueberry wine. Deb's a fan. Let's see, Deb, oh, she's back. The Monte blueberry wine is 15 grams of residual sugar, so it is not super sweet and can be had with salty foods too. Good advice. So then I would definitely start with this, because we want to start with the least sweet or the least powerful or the least alcoholic, and then again progress up so that each wine tastes stronger or whatever and doesn't taste wimpy by comparison. Okay, that's very lovely. It's very fresh on the nose. So when we talk about blueberry wine, it's made from blueberries. And, that would be good with turkey. Because, when you have cranberry sauce and some sweet stuff going on the table, sweet and acidic. So you've got cream corn, that's buttery and sweet. You've got mashed potatoes. You've got turkey that's dry and can take anything. A bit of a neutral palate. Blueberry wine would be lovely. I actually like that one. Wow. I think that's the first blueberry wine I've liked. I'm not huge, I always pick the blueberries out of a muffin. Anyway, that is good. I really like it. Well done. So, Sharon is now using capital letters. Sharon loves Southbrook Framboise. It is a treat, I must say. Southbrook is an organic winery that also makes biodynamic wines. That's like Organic Plus. That's a whole other discussion, by the way. Let's try this. So I would serve this slightly chilled. I would serve all of the dessert wines slightly chilled. That tames the sweetness and the alcohol. It makes them a little bit more balanced and a little bit more refreshing. And let me just pour this. I'm going to torture Sharon now because I don't think she has framboise in front of her. But Sharon says, I love Southbrook. Discovered them on, Dragon's Den. Went to the winery. Oh yeah, that's because they were pitching some sort of, I thought, health product or beauty product based on grape seeds and pumice or something. It wasn't the wine itself. Sharon, chime in, what were they pitching? So she discovered them on Dragon's Den, the TV show on CBC, and went to the winery and was very impressed. She bought a case of their Triomphe Cabernet Sauv, 3 bottles 2003, 9 bottles of the 2009 for very good prices. They are all gone now. Oh, Dave says grape powder. So Southbrook was pitching grape powder, probably for, was it a beauty product or a health product? Something like that, right? Okay. Oh my God. That is better than raspberry pie. Who really needs raspberry pie if you have, let me just show you the bottle again. Southbrook Framboise. They make other ones too. Trying to remember the names of their other ones, but I think there's a cassis and there's a strawberry one. Trying to remember the name of it. Okay. Oh God, that's so nice. Oh my Lord. Sorry. Oh, that is great. The strawberry one, what was, fraise. So I think they're using the French names. Framboise being raspberry, fraise being strawberry. So Dave says it's an antioxidant. Sharon, Southbrook also has an orange wine. Yes, orange is the new black, isn't it? So orange wines, if you've heard of them a little bit, or a lot, natural, non-interventionist. They get their name because they're orange, because they haven't been filtered or fined. The winemaker hasn't interfered a lot with them. I met a lot of winemakers that subscribe to this sort of natural orange wine movement. They can be funky, they can be glorious, they can be up and down mercurial. They're an interesting lot of wines that is really, it's hard to generalize about them. But yes, I would try Southbrook's orange wine. And Anne Sperling, the winemaker, is brilliant and a leader in the market. She has Southbrook, she has Sperling Vineyards in BC. I know she either consults or is maybe more directly involved in Nova Scotia. She's married to Peter Gambo, who is a brilliant consulting winemaker, Benjamin Bridge in Nova Scotia, but also I think they've been helping or involved with Blomidon in Nova Scotia. They're all over the map, so to speak, in a good way. So I'm going to taste, last but not least, the Quail's Gates, very dark label, Maréchal Foch. So it's fortified, meaning it's in the port style, higher alcohol, higher sugar. So, they add sugar or grape must to keep the fermentation going longer to make this style wine. Also port. That's nice. That's very nice. And I'm wondering what the alcohol level is on this thing. I don't know. I can't read. Dark label. Need glasses. Interesting. Not my favorite, but it's interesting. Perhaps with the right dessert. Framboise wins by a landslide, and then the blueberry wine. I like that too. So, my goodness, people, we all have lives, maybe. But this has been fun. This has lasted way longer than I thought it would. I just thought no one would be here tonight. No one would have questions. So I so appreciate that you joined me here tonight. It's a lovely Thanksgiving cool evening, or maybe Thanksgiving is tomorrow night for you, but I really appreciate you being here. As I said, next Sunday I'm going to do a taste-off between Trump Wines, owned by Donald Trump, Clinton Vineyards, also a U.S. winery not owned by Hillary, but we're doing it just for fun. So join me, because I'm really going to go all out for that. And let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to throw in a few favorite wines from Mexico. And we're going to mix things up. So I will be checking in on this live feed or the recorded feed for more questions after I finish the broadcast tonight. So if you missed this, or if you're watching the replay, do still feel free to post questions and I will get back to you. Trying to build this and make it better, more useful for you. So I wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Whether you're here in Canada actually celebrating it, in the US doing a beta test run, have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy it with friends and family and all the things that you are thankful for in your life. So cheers to you. Take care.